Listen, man, I'm a simple person. I see Ice Cube, I click on it. Just that simple, bro. It's the OG himself. One of the greatest storytellers of all time. A legend. Ice Cube, bro. Sitting down with Piers Morgan. How did I miss this? How did I miss this? But it doesn't matter. We here now and we get to hear the OG speak. So we're going to get to this video, man. If you're new, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, man, and join the family. All right? And spam that like button so we can unplug some more people out of the Matrix. Let's hear from Cube.
And I'm joined now by Ice Cube. Well, Ice Cube, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, man.
It's great to have you.
It's good to be here.
A bona fide legend.
Oh, thank you.
You like being called a legend?
Living
cool,
legend.
You know,
living legend.
It's cool. It's interesting because I'm still, here, and I still feel like I got so much to do. So it's nice.
You were born O'Shea Jackson. Who actually calls you O'Shea?
My mom, my pops, my wife, my brothers and sisters sometimes, but mostly everybody call me Cube.
Is O'Shea different to Cube?
Yeah.
In what way?
O'Shea's my real name, and when I hear that, I'm either looking for my family or a check. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna call me O'Shea? Hope you got a check. And Cube is what my friends been calling me since I was 12 years old.
Let me ask you this. There's been a lot of stuff about the state of the world, about the state of America. Where do you see things right now?
I think,
Okay.
people are very polarized in all kind of ways. People are afraid to speak out.
That part.
Because of the cancel culture that we have today. So I just think, people are afraid and they're running to their corners, In
a way, it is a cancel culture. It behaves like
some
that.
people would call it that.
Because it makes not only the person that's getting canceled, they're trying to shut them up, but anybody's watching now, they shut up because they say, if it can happen to this guy, it can happen to me. So by smashing somebody who says something that you might not like and canceling them, it actually reverberates throughout the whole community, and everybody now.
So agreed. And so he's a perfect person to speak on that. You know what I mean? With what he did in the past, with his whole movement with NWA, imagine Cube being put in a box. No pun intended. But you know what I'm saying? Imagine him being put in a box and not being able to be himself. Would he have become the person he is today? Like, that's the whole thing with cancel culture. Now, for the ones who need it, we're not speaking about them. That goes without saying. But to the other ones that are just speaking out, being themselves, pushing the envelope, doing different things, man, you can't put people in a box, bro.
Is watching what they say all the time.
Well, see, what's the answer to this? Because I think it's crazy that in a democracy like the United States, like the United Kingdom, that people are too frightened to speak their mind, to say what they think. What do we do about this?
I think you say what you want to say, and to hell with the consequences. You got to be willing to fight for your rights and fight for what you believe in. And if you're a person who believes in freedom of speech, you have to fight and say what you feel and let the chips fall where they may, and stand on that. And, it may not be an easy road, but I think you feel better about yourself when you say what needs to be said at the time it needs to be said, and not afterwards where you go home and think, I should have said this when that guy was there, or when I was there, I should have said that and I didn't.
And I agree with the way he put it. The way he just phrased that and put it. He didn't say it wouldn't be no consequences. He said it would. He said stand on it. Be prepared for that. Let the chips fall where they may. You know what I mean? He didn't make this whole facade that if you stand up for your right, nothing's going to happen to you. No, that's not the case. But you'll be able to sleep at night. You speak your mind, be who you are, and you, like you said, there's no better way to say it than let the chips fall where they may. Perfectly the way he said it.
when a
Perfect.
guy was there, or when I was there, I should have said that and I didn't.
We can
That
definitely-
haunts you more.
You can definitely say what the hell you like on this show. It's called
that-
it's called Uncensored for a reason.
Well, that's why I'm here, man. You know, that's
You've
what
always
I'm
been
all about.
uncensored. Let me ask you this: Is America more racist or less racist than when you were a kid?
I think it's pretty much the same because it's institutionalized, and you know the institution takes on different faces, so to speak. But you know, I don't know if racism in the financial sector or has gotten any better. We still have a hard time getting capital when we need it. We still have a hard time having that access to those, you know, currency streams that's out there, and so it affects us in the same way. In 1865, black people own maybe 1 or 2% of America, and I believe we're still in that same place.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's barely changed.
Barely changed. It's, in some ways, it's gotten worser. I mean, worser, but it's gotten worse. I think the Coroner Commission did something in 1968 about the poverty in America and how it affects all the people, and we're worse than we were in 1968.
Wow.
The last rapper that I interviewed in this very studio was Kanye West.
Yeah.
You've had a wobbly relationship with him, but you're back on track. I read that you saw him, in fact, a few days ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. I mean, we were always cool. You know, he spoke my name without really explaining what he meant, and I just really couldn't leave that statement out there without, you know, he never explained what he meant.
What did he say? I forgot. I missed. I can't remember. What did Ye say about Cube? The brain ain't what it used to be, man. Especially the memory. But y'all put it in the comment section. Let me know. I don't remember what he said about Cube.
Couldn't leave that statement out there without, you know, he never explained what he meant, and so I had to, you know, kind of rebut that. But since then we've talked, and I think Ye understands that generalizing will always get you in more hot water than being very specific. You know, you can,
because I haven't really seen
very
much of him
specific.
since I interviewed him. He's kind of disappeared. I mean, how is he? How's he dealing with what's happened to him?
I believe he's doing great. You know, he's still, you know, dealing with some people trying to hold on to his money. But for the most part, I believe he's in a good space. I think he's, you know, learned a lot from this past year, and, you know, hopefully he'll come out better on the other side.
When you saw some of the crazier things he was saying, the anti-Semitic statements he was making, what did you feel as someone who knew him well? What did you feel about that?
I felt that if he was really upset with specific people, that the message he was saying would kind of hijack what he's really upset about, you know, and you know that's kind of what happened. You just can't generalize. You have to be specific, especially if you're talking about anybody, any race of people. You have to be specific on who exactly you're talking about. Yeah.
Let's talk about the music industry.
I agree. And I felt like Kanye fell victim to emotionally reacting to something and then saying it. Not thinking, not processing it, not sitting back, not evaluating it. You know what I mean? Just hear, receive, react. And I think that's what happened a lot with Kanye. You know what I mean? And that could have been due to the people he had around him. You know, oftentimes we try to say, man, you got to get some better people around you. If that was the case, maybe he didn't have anybody around him that had that authority figure for him to be like, hey, bro, let's sit down and talk about this before we go before you go have this. Don't just go up there upset and you know what I mean? Let's have a plan. Let's sit down and hash this out. Tell me how you feel and who do you feel this towards? Like Cube said, specifically, why do you have these feelings? Let's get to the root of it. A lot of times, if you get to the root of the problem, you can solve it. You can articulate it better. You can say how it is you're feeling, conduct and convey that to the public, and he probably would have made out better. You know what I'm saying? But I think this little break he's been on has been. I hope it's been good for him.
Well, you have to be specific on who exactly you're talking about.
Let's talk about the music industry. Huge amount of attention being given to artificial intelligence now.
Yeah.
Clearly it has awesome power, not least to replicate how people like you would make music. What do you feel about that?
I think it's terrible. I think it's gonna make people lazier, less creative. You know, could you imagine if an actor, like if I decided not to do a sequel and the movie company said we have the rights to your likeness.
Right.
We're gonna put you in the sequel whether you want to be or not.
Yeah,
we have the right to.
That's
so
crazy.
Now they use AI to put Ice Cube in a movie I don't want to be in, saying things I don't want to say and doing things I wouldn't do. So to me that's terrible. Or
that's scary.
Taking an artist that's passed away and having them do a new song with lyrics that they may not agree with. It's just, you know, it's a slippery slope that will hurt us more than it will help us.
Is there a benefit that you can see where you could use AI to enhance what you do?
I mean, we use, you know, automation here and there to help advance and make us sound better. But, you know, once you take the paintbrush out of the painter's hand,
ooh,
is it really
art?
A painting from him, you know?
Right. Well, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Is it? I mean, I don't know.
Now, only bit of pushback I'll give to this, and it's small, but are y'all familiar with Beanie Siegel? When he got shot or whatever, and everything's happened to him, he lost his voice, so he doesn't sound the way we've all come to know and love Beanie Siegel. For those who know who Beanie Siegel is, the hip hop artist. Right? His voice doesn't sound the same as it isn't that gritty street sounding Beanie Siegel because he can only talk like with a whisper. Now what I recently heard from him who is on the side of wanting the AI in hip hop, he's saying he's using it to fix his voice. So you'll hear his music in his old voice that everybody came to know and love him as. Now, in a situation like that, I can't really knock him. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's probably his sales may have went down, possibly different things have gone down, people missing that old sound, him missing that old sound, maybe not feeling the same or himself. So he's wanting to use the AI to get his voice back to sounding the same. I can't knock him for that. You know what I'm saying? I can't knock him for that. So that's the only thing I've heard to where I've really been on the side of it. I've either been in the middle or on the side of nah. And for the reasons that Ice Cube just spoke of, you do a song and have Pac voice on it, Pac may not even have agreed with your subject matter.
Like if somebody does an Ice Cube AI song, how could it be an Ice Cube song? It's an artificial, it's like a mannequin or a puppet, or, you know, that's how I look at it. It's not real.
Do you think it's going to kill us all, artificial intelligence? I interviewed Professor Stephen Hawking before he died, and I said, what's the biggest threat to mankind? He said, when artificial intelligence learns to self-design. That's it.
Yeah, I think
wow.
You know, it's already figuring us out in a lot of different ways. I've heard that it's learned how to lie.
Yeah.
Really?
You know, this is the, you know, in every science fiction movie, this is the beginning of the end.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
If you knew it was about to end, what would you do on your last day? You got 24 hours to live.
Hug my family, love them, explain to them how much I care about them. pray to my maker, and prepare myself to meet him.
Would you have a last meal?
Probably so. Yeah.
What would you have?
Everything I could stuff in my mouth.
You're going to worry about any dieting, right?
Yeah. I'll be probably sick off everything on that day.
You turned down a $9 million movie role in 2021 because you wouldn't take the COVID vaccine. It was being mandated in Hollywood at the time. Any regrets? It's a lot of money.
Not at all. Not one regret.
You know my thought when I heard that story? You must be even richer than I think you are.
I mean, everybody can use $9 million. I don't care how rich they think they are. Everybody can use that money. I could have used that money. My family could have used that money. But I felt like, your health is worth more than all the money in the world. Because if you had all the money in the world and you wasn't healthy, you would use that money to get healthy. So, to me, it was an experimental drug, and they had no time to really see the long-term effects. Like most, and I'm vaccinated. I've been vaccinated when I was a kid, but these are drugs that have been tested for decades, and pretty much most of the side effects.
I mean, ultimately, I felt about COVID vaccines that once it was established against what they initially thought, that you could still transmit the virus whether you were vaccinated or not, to me it becomes a personal choice. Then it's down to you.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, the pharmaceutical companies made a lot of money. Businesses closed. It's like an incentive, even when things are not going right, to keep going. It's kind of like the war machine. If you make the bullets and the Band-Aids, you're going to always want to be in war because it's profitable.
Have you worked out who you're going to vote for next year?
No.
It's what we would call in Britain a Hobson's choice.
What's that mean?
It means it doesn't matter which way you go, you're going to get screwed. I mean,
wow.
Joe Biden looks like he barely knows what day it is. Donald Trump might be in a prison cell. So if that's the choice, what does it say about America?
That, America needs to re-examine where we are, where we're going, who we want to lead us, and what kind of country we actually want to be.
I agree. I agree.
A lot of choices. I've become independent in all this because I like to sit back and see, who's really gonna be the best choice. Unfortunately, the choices are not always top notch, so to speak.
Have you thought of running yourself?
Oh, I would never run.
There might be a vacancy now. Kanye ceded the territory.
I don't want to be a politician. They can king me. Make me king. I'll be a king.
Well, actually, I've always felt if it hadn't been for King George III being so useless, you could still have the monarchy here, and it could be King Piers. I mean, right? Maybe I could share the throne with you. Yeah. King Piers and King Cube. What do you think?
Hey, I think it's only room for one king, man. You know what I'm saying?
You tell me to move aside, eh? All right, I'll cede monarchical power to King Cube, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great to see you. Thank you very much.
Good to see you always, Chris.
Really good.
Under the radar in Fresno. Authorities say the warehouse was packed with hundreds of mice in inhumane conditions, medical waste, and at least 20...
Did this start off like already going? Hold on. Get it right.
Investigators discovering a horrific scene in suburban California. An illegal biolab, reportedly backed by communist China, has been operating under the radar in Fresno. Authorities say the warehouse was packed with hundreds of mice in inhumane conditions, medical waste, and at least 20 infectious agents. Our next guest sits on the House Strategic Committee on China. He's Florida Congressman Carlos Jimenez, and he joins us now. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us on this topic. This topic has not been discussed, in my estimation, not discussed enough. In this lab, they found COVID, HIV, many other diseases. What do we know about not just the lab, but its connections to China?
We don't know much about it. At this point, what we do know is that it was operating illegally. It poses a threat to the people of California and the United States. They were testing for COVID and, like you said, AIDS and everything else. And then the the rats and the mice there, 200 of them were found dead out of 1,000. All kinds of medical equipment and medical testing equipment and human blood, and they were testing for a lot of agents. So we don't know what they were doing or why they were doing it, but apparently they're tied to the CCP and to Chinese linked firms.
How is it this type of thing normally regulated? It should be under the guidance of what, and what made this particular one illegal?
Well, I'm sure that you have to get the okay. You have to follow CDC guidelines. You have to be registered, and you have.
Look at the way that room looks. Look at it. That just looks like, okay, yeah, something shady's going on here. They don't even care. They just got everything thrown. And in that type of a lab where you're dealing with all that type of stuff he named, I would expect it to be neat, clean, sanitary. Like everything is kept in a specific place. You got biohazard sections. You got things in, you know what I mean? Like you would look at this. This is just thrown in there. Like, okay, so what? This is how stuff gets out. This is how stuff spreads. This is how stuff gets to the people, man. And my question is, where is this thing located in California? Where? How heavily populated is the area that this lab is located in? Like, you never know what you're living next to, man.
Have to be licensed by the state and probably your local authorities. And I'm sure that this lab had none of that, and so they were operating illegally. But that's norm for Chinese-linked companies. They will cut corners and they will not play by the rules. And this is just another example of that. Not only are they not playing by the rules, those companies that operate here in the United States, but around the world, the Chinese-linked companies, because they're tied to the CCP, just don't play by the rules to get an advantage. Whatever advantage they can get, they'll try to get. And that's why, that's one of the things that we're investigating in our committee, how they do business here and around the world. And what we're finding is we don't like what we're seeing.
No doubt. And I know you said you're still in the investigation phase of this, but, after what we now think is a probability that COVID came from a lab leak in China, I'm not sure the answer to this question is operatively different, but I think we still want to know. Is this, as you said, a company linked to CCP looking to just cut corners and is sloppy and haphazard, in which case we could have a big disaster? Or is it more nefarious, where there's a reason they're trying to avoid government oversight, in which case it's more intentional?
That's a great question, and that's something that needs to be found out. What is it that they were doing, and why were they doing it there? And what kind of a threat it poses to, again, like I said, pose to the people of California, and then the people of the United States. It's no secret that they tried to hide for a long time that the Wuhan lab was not the cause of COVID-19, when in fact, in all probability, 99% it was. And so what are they doing there, and what are they testing for, and what kind of threat does it pose, again, to the people of that area and eventually to the people of the United States? That's something that we have to find out.
Absolutely. This one's on our home soil. Congressman Carlos Jimenez, thank you for being with us this morning and helping us begin to understand this story.
Thank you. Appreciate it.